We are live. Let me make sure you can all see us. Great. So, Catherine and Avery, how are your breakouts?
Awesome. Yeah, we had a great chat in my breakout. Mostly around, thinking about running this at a distance or sort of right now. And I think one really interesting idea that we came up with was building on an idea that Kevin had shared, where like if the library is the only place that can do a launch, like how can we get engagement from the community? And he was thinking that one way would be sort of to like frame it as like a game or a challenge where you sort of frame what the launch is and what the payload what kind of data the payload's going to collect, and then have people sort of submit guesses as to, how they think the temperature is going to change when it's launched, or what amount of what's the tree count in the neighborhood, or what kind of green space is on the roofs in the area. Those were some of Tina's ideas that she contributed as well. But I think, yeah, that's like a great way to try and get people to engage. We talked about like sharing a video of a launch on like social media or other library channels just to get people excited, because videos are sort of make it look really fun. And then I think the other cool idea that we were talking through is like, once you've collected the data, maybe sort of posting that somewhere where everyone could access it, and getting people to sort of like crowdsource analysis and submit their ideas or submit creative projects based off of the data or things like that. So I thought that those were all like really great things that I hadn't even thought about how you could bring this program to communities now, when we're not able to sort of gather together and do programs in person.
Cool.
I love that tree inventory idea. That's so cool. So I can share a couple of things that we discussed. So my group, we talked a little bit about what resources could be helpful for running this sort of thing. I think this session in particular can be a little bit scary in terms of all the preparation and the setup, and like Alessandra mentioned, like things are breaking off and flying away. And like what resources we can all contribute to make it a little bit easier. We talked about like how videos are a great resource, both like documenting the launch process, but also taking videos with the cameras. We also discussed partnering with local universities, which I know has come up before, and sort of just like finding the right approach to engaging researchers that, well, on both sides, like a lot of researchers have grants that like necessitate interaction with public groups or like high school groups, for example. And at the same time, libraries want to take, make use of their local expertise and inventory. So like brainstorming some ways to communicate that. We also discussed the ideas of having different libraries in different places. So like in our group, we had Deborah, who is in New York Public Library, and then Rachel was in New Hampshire. So there's this like mix, and like having a cohort of different area librarians sort of sharing the results and going through the process together and seeing like, how does tree cover differ? How does like the amount of pervious surface differ? So like not only having like a cohort, not a cohort necessarily, but just like facilitators to bounce ideas off of with, but also like comparing that data, and maybe like Catherine said, like putting it into a shared data set somewhere, crowdsourcing different types of data.
Yeah, I definitely like that idea of libraries working together on this. Maybe we should have a little thread in the forum where people can connect for that. In my group, we talked about two things, and we didn't really come to any conclusions, which is fine. But we talked about one, like the in-person joy of like spontaneous collaboration and kind of just like bumping into one another, and like that's how you just like get your new ideas just because you're in a space together. And it's, I think we think impossible to replicate that for a virtual setting, but like, how can you get parts of that spirit there? And then we also talked about, and I think my group last week had talked about this too, making sure that like whatever remote activity we do, if possible, can be require as little screen time as possible. So whether that's making a make and take, or we mostly talked about make and takes, but that was just kind of like a tricky thing we were discussing. We didn't come to many conclusions, though. If anyone in my group disagrees with me, you should tell us in the chat. Dave was thinking about running it this fall, so I'll be interested to see what happens there. I don't know. It's just kind of tricky, but exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with this series in particular, it sort of gets increasingly hard to run at a distance. And so I think it's just we're all experimenting. And we're really excited to see how you all bring this programming together. And especially with the co-creation element, my group also discussed this, is like, how do you facilitate the online making environment such that like you can see hands? And Rachel mentioned this really funny like crafting session she went to where the facilitator just kept turning the laptop down to show her hands as like camera number 2. And so just bring that element of like, you're physically present, but like the making process is also present.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I see that Dave mentioned in the chat that he's going to document everything, which is amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. You know, if anyone else, I mean, we love documentation, and one of the reasons that we created the forum is as a place where like all of us in the community can share documentation of how programs went, and like little remixes or things that you tried, so that other people can sort of, you know, learn from what you did, be inspired. So please feel free to, you know, document and share whatever you're comfortable doing on the forum. We would love to see it, and would love to be able to share that broadly. Cool. Well, I know this is the last of our 3 weeks here together, and it's been awesome. I've had so much fun, and thank you all for being here with us. I don't know, Avery or Lydia, do you guys have any other like sort of wrap up thoughts?
Just that I had a great time too, and I think you know, we're in a very like volatile situation, and things change like with every meeting that we have, and I was like really excited to have these creative conversations with you all and learn from like your hacking. So it was cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll echo that and just say, making the slide, I always learn new stuff about CubeSats, and every time I have discussions with you all, I have new ideas every time. So on our end, this will always be an evolving project series as well. So we hope that sort of crosstalk will inspire both the librarians and the PLIX team.
Yeah, and as always, you know, please reach out to us with questions, concerns, if you need help. We're always here and love to hear from you. And we hope to see you at one of our future workshops or community calls. Yeah, I think that's it then.
Great.
Awesome.
All right, folks, have a great rest of your Wednesday. See you online.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.